What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Sombra del Piso in las sombras de la noche, right? In the shadows of the night, currently in this beautiful but accursed land of the free. It's nuts. It's a wonderful night though, so I won't complain about the land of the free too much. So for sake of brevity, I decided to jump right into what we're going to talk about for today. So I'm going to talk about semen retention once again. I've realized that there are many videos that I have on my channel detailing a lot of the metaphysical, sort of third tier, deeper tiered layers of the semen retention practice that one will experience. I realized that I didn't really explain what semen retention is, and for the newcomers to the channel, how can one get into semen retention? How can one start this practice of semen retention? Let's begin by sort of detailing what semen retention is. Semen retention is the act of retaining one's semen in the body. You know, it's not like as it's supposed to be literally defined, like, oh, you know, I ejaculate semen and then retain it somewhere, right? Like in a fridge, a cupboard. But no, semen retention is not that. Semen retention is the retention of one's semen within the body to get desired metaphysical, physical, mental benefits. There is this, you know, there's the abstinence as well. Why would someone do semen retention over abstinence or vice versa? What abstinence really is you are not having any sexual relations with someone else. You are still masturbating, which is completely antithetical to the practice of semen retention. If you're gonna not have any sexual relations, why not cut out masturbation completely and just dive completely into the practice of semen retention? Why people would want to get into semen retention? There comes a time in a man's life, right, where, you know, the partying starts to get old. The wonderful, frenetic sexual experiences that you have, they start to get very repetitive. What is that? What is repetitive? You seek something else, something different. At least for me, how I fell into this practice is once upon a time, you know, I lived in England. That's the time when I really started to party. I mean, before then, I was going to Switzerland like once a year, twice a year with my old best friend. And we would be allowed to drink, partying with, you know, with other girls. And, you know, it was fun. A lot of that stuff was fun. We're just hanging out, enjoying ourselves. And I had this personal yearning to get better, to do better with myself. And how I saw that was to cut unnecessary things out of my life. What is the biological imperative for semen, right? So semen essentially is a byproduct of the digestion and the metabolization process of food. You eat food, some of that breaks down into energy, which is going through a metabolic process. Food that gets metabolized, some of that gets, goes into your semen, and that is essentially for the reproductive process. So it's meant to be ejaculated from a biological standpoint. For the ascetics, right, the ones that seek to ascend, based on anecdotes that you've listened to, you know, you want to get more energy, you know, perform better in school, perform better in sports. Semen retention is an excellent practice for that. And with the retention of this energy, and of course the discipline, through the discipline of your mind, will really reap the benefits of this practice, and it will carry you to different states, mental states. Some that will be very traumatic, and some that's going to be very interesting, to say the least. Why would you want to start semen retention? Why would you want to begin this practice? There's a whole plethora of reasons. Whether you want to, you know, be the most admired one at your job, or you want to charm that girl, or you want to try to break an Olympic world record. Essentially, it is to better oneself and to go through a process of true self-development. There are varying levels of semen retention, you know, where you're not using it to just attract people from the other opposite sex, you know, women. You are trying to really understand the world in a very metaphysical way. A lot of people are actually not on that facet of the practice, and everyone's entitled to whatever motivations they have for this practice. But semen retention is best utilized when trying to seek metaphysical truths. This is my personal opinion, and it's worked for me so far. How would you get into semen retention? How would you start? Me personally, I recommend a gradual shift into the practice. Truly ambitious and the strong of mind, you can go cold turkey. If you were a chronic masturbator or something, or you're just used to ejaculating consistently, and suddenly for the following week you decide to really double down on this practice and cut all of that out, there are definitely going to be some withdrawals. You'll feel a lot of different feelings, whether it be sadness, a lot of anger. It's not just on a physical level where you're just retaining semen. You're not, you're abstaining from ejaculation. You're gonna be going through a lot of mental states, different emotional states, and some maybe within a couple seconds or a couple minutes to, feeling good for a couple of days, and then suddenly for the next 2 days following that, you're going to be incredibly angry, incredibly resentful, for no apparent reason. With that being said, I definitely suggest that people go through this practice gradually. Set goals for yourself, which is incredibly important. Perhaps you'll decide to abstain for 3 days. Perhaps you'll choose to abstain for a week. The more you hit those small goals, the more you increase the range that you would like to abstain for. If you feel a flow going, right? If you feel a little bit of inertia, you retain for a week, and you feel like you can go for 2 weeks without having to, ejaculate, then by all means do that. Me personally, I am very radical. I tend to be very black and white. So the moment I fell into this practice, which was around college, I decided to go all out. I stopped talking to a lot of people, a lot of women actually, and I just went headfirst into the practice, and I felt the benefits, but then I started to become a little bit uncontrollable and erratic with my behaviors, to the point where it scared me as well. I used to be incredibly sensitive to the responses of others, to the actions of others. I used to see micro facial gestures and react a certain way. It's a very powerful practice. So whichever way works for you, you can always experiment with both, the cold turkey, where you're just you set a long goal for yourself and dive right in, or you can gradually move into longer and longer streaks. You all need to have a personal reason for why you're doing this. I do recommend to not feel guilty if you set a goal and you don't reach that goal. For someone that's not aware of this practice or not practicing it, usually practicing it, it's going to be a complete shift from a way that you've been doing things. Semen retention is a foundational behavior. It's a foundational practice that will slowly seep its way into all the other facets of your life. I got into semen retention and it justified to stop drinking. And I haven't drank in going on 8 years now. I started to get really, really deep into metaphysics and religion after long streaks of semen retention, because I started to see a lot of synchronicities in a lot of things and a lot of events in life. I started to see a lot of patterns, with whether it be with people's behavior, whether it be from the different religions and the different traditional cultures. This will definitely open your eyes to a lot of things. That was part of the reason as to why I'm even still continuing the practice to this day. It will help you, like I said, I'll reiterate, that to find a strong reason to stay on this practice. I'm gonna start going into the pitfalls of this practice. How you fail the semen retention practice is to stop retaining, right? Whether that be through ejaculation. I say any form of viewing of adult content. Definitely when you are making a transition into semen retention from a rather uncontrolled, unbridled behavior of ejaculation, you are going to have a lot of urges. The urges are going to hit like fire trucks. They're going to hit you like tsunami waves, strong gusts from a hurricane. You name it, these urges are incredibly strong. They're gonna come in the form of that Calvin Klein ad with that scantily clad model. I don't know if you guys are into incredibly skinny broads like that, but the seeds of the causes of these urges are going to appear everywhere, whether that be an innocent cover of a magazine to a billboard ad, and you have to mitigate your contact with those seeds, those catalysts for obtaining those urges as much as possible. It's nice to have an accountability partner, someone that is also practicing semen retention, and you are discussing with them your journey as they are with you. The thing is, I know a lot of us in this community, we roll solo. Like we're by ourselves. A lot of, it's hard to describe this practice to a lot of people because one, a lot of people don't get it. Two, the people that do understand it sort of question as your reasons as to why you would do it when it's such an easy process to, you know, to not be on semen retention. My advice to you that has that issue is to go online, communicate with other people that are on this practice, and try to stay level-headed about the entire thing. It's not the end of the world, of course, if you relapse. Albeit, being on a long streak, you definitely will notice a lot of differences suddenly being off the practice, you know, giving into the urges. My advice is don't take it to heart too much. Just understand that you made a mistake, understand that at the end of the day, you are human, you are beginning the practice, and that, you know, mistakes are bound to happen. When practiced diligently for a couple months in the beginning, you will notice such a shift. You're gonna notice that your behaviors around your friends change. You are able to see a little clearly about the emotional expressions from people around you. You'll probably retain information and knowledge much more easily. The moment you continue this practice for a couple months, you know, for the first time, you'll notice that your priorities change, your dreams change, your ambitions will change. When I started, I actively and diligently conducted the practice, which means I did not view adult content. I tried to read a lot of books, get into a lot of sports to try to channel and transmute this vital energy that I was starting to accumulate and starting to feel. There are a lot of books that help with this practice. You know, The Coiled Serpent is a good one. The Bliss of the Celibate is another good one. A lot of stuff by Samuel Owen Weor. I hope I said that name correctly. I read a lot of his books. Those were very, very good. I think there's some by Bernard McFad. I forgot his last name, but a lot of his books detailing the experiences that one feels on semen retention. Those books are excellent to get into, and I definitely recommend reading them, especially when you're beginning this practice. I'm going to conclude the video here. What I like to say is try not to share with a lot of people that you are on this practice, because they'll change on you. They'll change completely, regardless of whether you tell them or not. The energy will be felt, and they will shift. What semen retention is, it's almost like a beacon. You become a lighthouse that sort of shines this non-physical light on a lot of people's actions and deeds and behaviors. And no one wants to face the truth. No one wants to face the music. So as a result, you'll start to be marginalized and isolated from your groups. But never fear. Please begin this practice. The benefits that you will reap from this practice when done correctly and diligently and actively, this is the quickest way to ascend in this world. It's the quickest way to attain your dreams and understand reality. So with that being said, Sombra del Piso gone. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one, and stay radiant. Don't let this world get you down.